So I'm working over at City Point Christian College. I'm teaching history, music and English, and I've got a huge range of students. So my youngest are in year 7 and my oldest are in year 11.
I started at City Point this year as well, and I teach mainly senior business and legal studies, but I teach junior business as well. So I've got a nice little collection of year 8 classes.
So we've had quite a few changes fairly consistently. It's been challenging, both physically and emotionally, to go from teaching in front of a class to teaching online. As a very chatty, sociable person myself, I bounce off my students a lot. We have lots of jokes in class, there's constant discussion. I know quite a bit about what they're doing, and now it's kind of all behind a screen. So we're still able to teach similar to how we would in a class through screen sharing. We're still able to have some kind of interaction with the kids, but yes, they feel very far away, that's for sure.
I think when all this sort of went down, there was a bit of concern, especially being in a private school. There is that option for parents to be able to pull their kids out, and obviously that impacts the bottom line, which then impacts the employability of teachers. I think there was a bit of concern in that space. I think that was just something that we just had to commit to God. Just it was more a faith sort of, just trusting that God had it in control, and that whatever we did was going to be sufficient. It was going to be a good enough sort of product, if you will, for our customers.
It's definitely more difficult to have a genuine connection with the kids via the internet. It's been interesting in my classes. Some of the really, really quiet students that usually would never speak in class, wouldn't say boo, wouldn't contribute to anything, they're feeling a lot more brave and willing to participate through messaging on Teams. So there's that kind of rapport still happening. But I suppose for the kids that struggle with school, that aren't very well connected with their friends and aren't very self-confident, I really have no idea how they're going. You're trying to connect, you're trying to contact them and see how they're going, but you can't read their body language. It's difficult to kind of see what sort of tone they're using and suss out whether they're going, I'm fine, and something very obviously isn't fine, or whether they are actually just doing okay.
Like, our students had their webcams off, so it was pretty much, you had to guess, I suppose, that they were there, that they were engaged and so on. Yeah.
Sometimes it's a bit of a game of chicken. I spent 10 minutes waiting for my class to give me an answer this week. And just sat there, and every few minutes you'd repeat the question and go, can you guys hear me? Can someone acknowledge that you can hear me? And you'd have a kid go, yeah, I can hear. Okay, well, would someone like to answer? And it's difficult because you can't kind of corner them in class and go, you give me an answer. It's been interesting, to say the least, because a lot of people ended up working from home very early on, but we've still been going to school every day. So it's felt a little bit like it's not happening, even though we consciously know that it is. For me, I found week 10 of term 1 particularly overwhelming. By the time I got to the end of that week, I was quite emotionally fried, just because there were so many changes. So at that point, there were changes either on a government level or a school level almost every single day, while we were still trying to prep the same work. So it was difficult to not know where we stood and what directives were going to be handed out, and whether everything you just spent all day getting together and organising was actually going to be irrelevant, and whether you need to completely tweak it and turn it on its head. I think also connection, even just giving your fellow teachers a call and going, hey, how you doing? Let us vent for a little while. For parents with kids, helping us check that they're actually doing the work. We're still the teacher, we're still the ones that are giving them the content, but it can be very easy for a student to sign on at the start of the lesson and go, hi, I'm here, and then disappear. So having the parents on our side as well to kind of help the kids stay as focused and directed as they can would be a huge help as well.
I think that extends beyond after all this online learning is finished as well. I think there's a lot of research out there about how if families engage with schools, it actually makes life a lot easier for everyone involved. So I think practically that's probably something you can like just supporting, I suppose, in the background.
If it wasn't for my faith, I absolutely think this would have been an incredibly and probably excessively anxious time for me. And looking at my feelings towards it compared to even some family members that aren't Christians, it's reassuring knowing that there is a God who's greater than you, who has it under control, whether you think you can see that or not. And very early on in the piece, Aaron made a comment to me and he said, God already knows whether we get the virus or not. He knows whether we die from it or not. And it doesn't matter how much you stress or worry about it. It's not going to change anything. And at the end of the day, it's still all good.
I said it lovingly though.
To know that we're praying for our students, the staff are praying for our students, the staff are praying for each other. To know that we've got parents emailing our heads of school going, hey, we just wanted to let you know that you're doing a great job and we're praying for you all. So it would be a very, very different situation if we weren't in a Christian school, but I definitely think that there's a calmness and a peace over the campus knowing that everyone's aware that there is another group of people praying for them and their students through all of this.